You know that feeling.
Right.
It's just universal. You're in a meeting maybe,
Yeah.
or just at a cafe with a napkin,
Hmm.
and you have this image in your head. It's perfect. It could be a new product design or a cool building or, I don't know, a funny drawing of your dog.
The vision is crystal clear in your mind.
Exactly. It's right
Yeah.
there. But then you pick up the pen, you make one single mark, and it's just over
Yeah.
instantly. The line is all stiff, the perspective is weird, and it looks like a toddler drew it.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
that's where we stop, right? We put the pen down and think, well, I guess I just don't have the art gene.
And that is like the biggest myth we tell ourselves about creativity. We treat drawing like it's some kind of magic.
Yeah, you either have it or you don't.
Exactly. But it's not magic. Drawing is a technical skill. It's engineering on paper, really.
And that is exactly why we're here. We're doing a deep dive into the absolute rock-bottom fundamentals of that skill. We're working from a breakdown by Brandon Schaefer, his Learn to Draw series.
Right.
And the whole mission today is to just strip away all the art stuff and look at the mechanics.
We're going to decode the tooltip because, spoiler alert, that yellow pencil in your desk is actively working against you. And we're going to break down, the physics of light and the philosophy of a single line.
So whether you want to sketch better diagrams for work or you just want a way to relax, this is the toolkit. And we have to start with the hardware. Because I think most people, myself included, assume a pencil is a pencil.
You grab what's closest.
Yeah. But Schaefer argues there is a literal code stamped on the side of these things that we've all been ignoring.
It's not just a code, it's a formula. If you go into an art store, the pencil aisle is, it's overwhelming. You see 4H, 6B, HB. Understanding that is the difference between fighting your tools and having them work for you.
Okay, so let's crack that code. What am I looking at when I see a 6B? I always thought it was just a model number.
It's all about the mix inside the lead, which isn't lead, of course. It's graphite and clay. So B stands for blackness.
Blackness, okay.
These pencils have more graphite, less clay. They're soft. So the higher the number, like an 8B, the softer it is. It feels almost like drawing with a piece of charcoal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you get this dark, rich mark with almost no pressure.
Okay, so B is soft and dark. So H must be the total opposite.
Exactly. H is for hardness. These have a lot more clay in the mix, so they're really rigid. A 4H pencil is like scratching the paper with a nail.
This could be a really light line.
Super faint, pale gray. Architects love them because they hold a sharp point and don't smudge, but for sketching, they're a nightmare. You have to press so hard you actually dent the paper.
And then right in the middle, you've got the one we all know, the HB.
The standard office pencil, the one you use for standardized tests, it's the compromise right in the middle of that scale.
But here's what surprised me. Schaefer says for a beginner, someone who wants to learn to sketch, you should actually ignore most of that. You don't need the big tin set. He points to one sweet spot.
The 2B.
The 2B. Why? I mean, if we want dark lines, why not just go for a 6B?
Because a 6B is a mess. It's so impractical for a beginner. It smudges if you look at it wrong, and the point gets dull in like 2 seconds.
Right.
The 2B is the workhorse. It's soft enough to get you those deep, dark tones, but it's hard enough that it holds a point and doesn't turn your page into, graphite soup. It gives you range.
That makes sense. It's like the all-terrain vehicle of pencils.
Exactly.
Now, what about the other side of it? The eraser. This was a huge mindset shift for me. I've always seen the eraser as the failure tool, the undo button.
That's how we're all taught. But in drawing, an eraser is a tool that draws with white. It's for removing material to create light. It's an active tool, not just damage control.
And he's really specific about what kind of eraser. He basically says, throw out the pink one on your pencil.
Oh, yeah. Get rid of it. Those pink erasers are abrasive. They're basically rubber sandpapers.
They tear up the paper.
They tear up the paper, they smear the graphite, and they leave those little pink crumbs everywhere. He says a gum eraser is a better standard, but the real game changer, this is the one that's confusing at first, is the kneaded eraser.
The gray blob.
The gray blob. It looks like a boring little square when you buy it, but when you open it, it feels like putty. It's tacky.
And you don't scrub with it, right?
You can, but that's not its superpower. Because it's moldable, you can shape it. You can pinch it into this tiny, fine point to lift out a little highlight in someone's eye.
Oh, cool.
Or you can flatten it and just tap a dark area to lighten it up a bit. It gives you so much nuance.
And the cleaning process is weird. You don't wash it.
No water, you'll ruin it. When it gets black with graphite, you pull it apart and fold it over on itself. You knead it.
So you're trapping the graphite inside.
You're trapping it inside and exposing a clean surface. It's a self-cleaning tool. And it leaves 0 crumbs. It lifts the graphite. It doesn't scrub it.
It's like a fidget toy that helps you draw.
It really is.
So there were a few other pro tools. Some of them sounded a little like they belong in a hardware store. Like sandpaper.
Yeah, that one always catches people off guard. Why would you bring sandpaper to an art class?
Right. Am I building a shelf or drawing a banana?
You're sharpening, but not the wood. You use a little sandpaper block to shape the graphite lead itself.
Oh.
A regular sharpener just gives you a cone, always the same cone. But maybe you want a flat chisel tip for shading, or a super long needle point for details. You just rub the graphite on the sandpaper to sculpt your own tool tip. It's about control.
Okay, that makes sense. Customizing the tip. And what about blending stumps? These things that look like tightly rolled paper sticks.
Those are so important for beginners because they stop you from using your fingers.
What's wrong with using your finger? I feel like that's the first instinct. You draw a line, you want to shade it, you rub it.
It is the instinct, and it's a bad one. Your skin has oils. Always. When you rub a drawing, you're mixing skin oil with graphite. It makes the drawing look dirty and greasy, and it basically glues the graphite to the paper so you can't erase it later. The stump just moves the graphite around smoothly, keeps it clean and dry.
Okay, so we've got our 2B pencil, a kneaded eraser, maybe some sandpaper. We have the toolkit. But having a great car doesn't mean you know how to drive.
Not at all.
And this is where Schaefer gets into what he calls the philosophy of the line.
This is maybe the most important part of this whole deep dive. If you take away one thing, this is it. This is what separates a doodler from a sketcher.
He uses the example of drawing a circle. And I feel so seen by this because my circles always look like lopsided potatoes.
Well, the mistake we all make is we try to draw a circle in one single, continuous, committed go. We put the pencil down, we tense up, hold our breath, and try to make this perfect loop.
And it never ever works.
Never. And because you're tense, you press hard. So now you have this dark, ugly potato shape that you can't even erase properly. You're just stuck with it.
It's a commitment issue. We're committing to the line before we even know where it's supposed to go.
Precisely. He says that sketching is actually the process of searching. You don't draw one line, you draw dozens of light lines. He calls it the hairy circle.
So you're supposed to make a mess.
A controlled mess. You use these loose, light arcs going around and around, and your brain does this amazing thing. It averages them out. And somewhere inside that fuzzy cloud of lines, the true circle just appears. You find the shape within the lines.
It's like you're sculpting, chipping away at the paper until the real shape is left.
Great analogy. And only then, once you see that perfect circle hiding in the mess, then you commit. You go back with your 2B, you press a little harder, and you darken just that one correct curve.
And the other messy lines just kind of fade away.
They fade away, or you can tap them with the eraser to clean them up, but you never, ever start with that final line.
I love the tree analogy he uses too. That really cleared things up for me.
It's such a great visual. If you ask someone who doesn't draw to draw a tree trunk, they draw 2 parallel vertical lines.
Like a telephone pole.
Exactly. Because in our head, the symbol for a tree trunk is a cylinder, but it looks so stiff and fake.
Right.
A sketcher, though, puts down loose lines. Maybe the trunk dips in a little here, or it bulges out there by the roots.
Yeah.
You exploit the form, you find the shape, you build the drawing. You don't just print it out.
It's such a relief to hear that. It means the first mark isn't supposed to be perfect. In fact, it's almost supposed to be wrong so you can find the right one.
It takes all the pressure off. You
Yeah.
switch from performance mode, where every mark is judged, to training mode, where you're just gathering information on the page.
So we're making our hairy circles, we're finding our lines, but we're still in flatland. It's all 2D. How do we make things look 3D? Schaefer says there's one rule to rule them all.
The like source.
It sounds so obvious, but I think most of us just forget. We just start shading the parts we think should be dark.
We shade randomly. We'll put a shadow on the left side of an object, but then put a highlight on the left side too. And it just confuses the brain. Schaefer is adamant. Before you shade anything, you have to decide where the light is coming from. He even says to draw a little arrow on your paper.
The sun arrow.
The sun arrow, because once you have that, you don't have to guess anymore. It's just logic. It's physics.
Okay, so walk me through it. I draw a ball. My sun arrow is pointing from the top right.
Okay, so light comes from the top right. That means the highlight, the brightest spot, is on the top right of the ball.
Got it.
The shadow on the ball itself, that's called the form shadow, will be on the opposite side, the bottom left. And then the cast shadow, the shadow the ball throws onto the ground, will also stretch away to the bottom left. You can't cheat it.
It's almost mathematical.
It is, and it gets more interesting because the shadow doesn't just define the object, it defines the ground it's sitting on.
Right, how it interacts with the environment.
This is where you really escape flatland. Is the cast shadow straight? Then it's on a flat table. Does the shadow suddenly bend or break? Then maybe it's falling over the edge of a book or a rock. You define the world around the object just by drawing its shadow correctly.
And he says to do this in the real world, right? Don't just imagine it.
Absolutely. Our brains simplify things too much. He says, get a lamp and a ball or a mug, move the lamp around, watch what the shadow does. One of the coolest things he brings up is crossing shadows.
Oh yeah, this broke my brain a little.
It's tricky because in the real world, you rarely have just one light. At your desk, you might have a window on your left and a lamp on your right.
So you get two shadows.
You got two shadows and they overlap. And where they overlap, no light is hitting that spot at all. So you get this patch of intense, deep darkness. But in the parts where only one light is blocked, you get a lighter gray shadow.
Wow.
And he says to look for that. It's all about training your brain to see how light actually works, not how we think it works.
It just reinforces that drawing is really about seeing. You have to look at an object and think, okay, is the light hitting the front, the side, the back? You have to build that 3D model in your head first.
And that's a muscle. You build it by observing. You stop seeing a chair and you start seeing planes of light and dark.
Which brings us to the last piece, the practice mindset. Because all this theory is great, but it's useless if you don't actually do it.
He tells you to get rid of the perfectionist mentality, which goes right back to that hairy circle. Wanting to be perfect is the enemy of learning to draw.
Easier said than done.
True. But his assignment helps. He says, sketch everything in your house. And he's very clear. The first time you draw it, it will probably be terrible.
And that's okay.
It's required. That's why you have a sketchbook. If the first one is bad, don't sit there erasing it to death. Just stop. Move your hand over and try again.
Iteration.
Constant iteration, change your angle, move the lamp. It's about being in that training mode where the outcome isn't as important as the reps. You're just training your hand and your eye to work together.
He also threw out some terms like cross-hatching and wireframes as things to play with. Wireframes is about drawing the invisible lines, right?
Yeah, like drawing a glass box. You don't just draw the front, you draw the back lines too, the ones you can't technically see. It helps you understand the object's volume so it doesn't look flat.
And cross-hatching is just a way to shade with lines instead of smudging.
Exactly. But for the beginner, that's all extra. The main message right now is just fill the page. Get used to the feeling of that 2B on the paper.
So let's bring this all together. We've covered a lot.
We have.
Let's recap the essentials for someone who's listening and thinking, okay, maybe I actually can do this. First, the gear.
Keep it simple. Get a 2B pencil for its range. Get a kneaded eraser so you can lift out highlights and, have a stress ball. And get a blending stump so you stop using your oily fingers.
Okay. Second, change your philosophy of the line.
Stop trying to be perfect on the first try. Be a sculptor. Use light, messy lines to find the form. Don't commit until you know the line is right. Embrace the hairy circle.
And third, respect the physics.
Always know where your light is coming from. Draw the arrow. Let logic and physics create the 3D effect for you. No light source, no 3D drawing.
It's actually really freeing. I think people stop drawing because they think they lack vision, but really they just lack the permission to make a mess first.
That's it. We compare our rough draft to someone else's final polished work. Schaefer is showing us that the mess is the process. It's the thinking. You can't skip the thinking part.
It really connects back to this idea of just being a learner. Whether you're in a meeting or just doodling, these rules apply. You don't have to be a master artist to benefit from this.
Absolutely. Visual communication is a superpower. If you can sketch a rough idea, you can communicate things that words just can't. And you don't need it to be perfect. You just need it to be clear.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. We've talked a lot about commitment, how beginners commit to a line too early. They press too hard, make a dark mark, and then they're stuck with it.
And how the pros stay light and loose until they're sure.
Right. So what if we applied that to other things? In our work, in our projects, we feel this pressure to have the perfect answer right away. We want that hard, committed line on the first try.
We want the solution before we've even fully explored the problem.
Exactly. But what if we treated our initial ideas like those sketch lines? What if we let ourselves be light, exploratory, removable? What if we put down 10 wrong ideas lightly just to find the shape of the one right idea hidden in the mess.
If you treat an idea as a sketch instead of a final commitment, you're way more willing to test it or change it or just erase it if it's not working. You stop defending the first line you drew just because you happen to press too hard.
And that's where the real shape of the solution is found, hidden somewhere in the mess.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Now go find a pencil.
And draw that arrow.